Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the channel. Good to have you here already. This is completely spontaneous. Just finished doing a football live on my channel, other channel, and I'm in the mood to carry on. So I thought, why not? Let's come on here, drink a little blackcurrant juice, and have a chat about prepping. And for the first time ever, invite you guys who will take the plunge. In the chat now is a StreamYard invite. So if you'd like to come and join me, talk to me, whatever you want about prepping, ideally, not like what your warts are doing, but, you're welcome to click that link that I've just put in the chat and come and join me. And let's just have a chat before Brian turns up and takes over, So it can happen. It can happen. Who have we got in the chat anyway while we wait for a potential incoming? Miss Worm was, of course, first in the chat with Evening All. Me and her, then followed by Zebra, both moderators. Thank you very much for everything you do. Kaz is in the house. Good to see you, Kaz. Robert Southworth has joined us. Thank you very much, Robert. Metalhead Doc says, greetings from Central United States. Greetings. Always happy to have our American cousins from across the pond here. Band again is in the house. New member as well. Brum Prep has just joined us over on Discord as well. Good to see you here, Brum. Rift Security, another one of the heavy hitters in the moderator team, has arrived. Katarzyna Dabrowska, I hope I'm saying that right, says hi all. XP in the house as well. Rob B, Liberals run amok every Saturday here in the States. Is it the same over there? I'm not sure about running amok every Saturday. I'm not sure. What are they actually doing there, Rob? It's let me know. Evening Band again. Hawkins is in. Is there somebody who pretends to be a moderator? He's got a spanner, but he doesn't do much moderating. Liz Happy Homestead is there as well. Don't forget, guys, this is the first time we're doing open mic night. You are welcome to come and join me. I want to talk about anything prepping, whether you are English, British, American, Polish. I'm not sure what other nationalities we've got in there, but we'll go through. You're all welcome. Hi from the northeast, Jeff Walk. Which part of the northeast, Jeff? Does this colour deeply offend you or deeply excite you, Jeff? One of the two. Or are you that middle team that just is not bothered either way? Too many chefs, not enough Indians. What's going on? I'm going to start kicking people in the stream to demonstrate my position. Medi says, salute to all from Maine, USA. Neither, says Jeff. There we go. That's all right then. Not going to deeply offend you then. They protest Trump and everything they hate. They are proud that they have done it for 9 Saturdays in a row. But is anybody paying attention? Does anybody care? They'll miss a Saturday when they've got to go and re-dye the hair blue because the roots have come through. Audio is choppy. Is that just me? I hope not. Is it probably because I'm turning away from the mic as I'm bringing it in? Let me double check it's using the right mic. Audio. Testing. Nope, it's fine. It's definitely coming through the right one. So hopefully you hear me. How's the sound for everybody else? Let me know. You were too close. Ooh. Further away better? Is this better? I don't know. What's going on? Doing a whole sound test here with the guys in the chat. Come on. Who's joining me in the hot seat? 5x5, says Medi. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. So, I've not much to talk about. I was hoping somebody would come on and talk to me so we could have something to talk about. So we'll just chat a bit about the stuff that's going on until somebody decides to join, or till one of you decide to ask some sort of question. Pete GB, Soviet spaceship crashing into Earth. Okay, not heard that one. Banned again says, what's the phone-in subjects? It's not phoning, it's appear. It's come on the screen. But it's whatever you want. It's whatever you want. I'm an open book. I'm still curious what the power outage in Spain and Portugal was all about, the way it disappeared from the news, and the next day. I believe Brian was going to do an update for that on his channel, so I don't know if he's already put that video out or not. Miss Worm might know, but he is going to be doing an update about the whole Spain thing. He has news, apparently. Can I ask what you do for stocking water? I buy bottles and cycle through them, or big tanks or whatever. Right. Okay. So, well, you know, many different avenues would be my answer. That don't just rely on one. So I have when I first started, bottled water, big 5 liter or gallons, whatever you call them, bottles of water. Make sure I keep a rotation on them. Make sure I agitate them every so often. Then I've got filtering. So I've got a gravity filter and I've got a reverse osmosis filter. I've also got like a life straw and stuff like that if I was out and about. But for in the house, I've got 2 water filtering sources there. And I now have a big water tank. But it's a project. It's not been done yet. It's not been sorted, but it is up in the prep room. If you saw any of the videos of the prep room, there's a big black box in the back corner. That's a water tank. So many avenues. I also always have at least a crate of 24 in both mine and Mrs. Urban Prepper's car. But definitely any sort of water catchment I can't do at the moment, but hopefully I will when I move with water butts. But don't just rely on one source. Make sure you know where to get water from when it runs out. Don't just have a countdown with bottled water, because you'll be surprised how quickly you can go through it. Blood, skulls, rocks. I'm going to have medical preps as one of my cats ripped up my arm with his claws, blood everywhere. There you go. Do you know, it's weird because it's hard to remember a time when I wasn't a prepper, but I do remember like when I first moved out and lived on my own, it wasn't my priority. And I don't ever remember needing a first aid kit. And then as soon as I've prepared and I've got these first aid kits everywhere, I need them all the time. I don't know if it's chicken and egg. I'm not sure. I would join, but got to get the wifey, says Medi. No problems. Pick a tricky one, like 102 times 102. How do you even join? Don't even lie. You know how to join. I'm going to keep constantly repeating the link in the chat. The link is in the chat to join. All you need is any device. It can be a smartphone or anything, or a PC with a webcam and mic. You can even turn your webcam off before you come live if you'd rather just be a mic or a voice. That's entirely up to you. But you know, no funny business. We are after the watershed, but still. Soviet satellite, and apparently UK is possibly in line for it. Something to do with something new to look forward to. When's this supposed to be happening? What timeline have we got on that? Anybody? Do it, Orchids, you know you want to. Hello, Pilgrim. Rainwater harvesting filtration systems are my backup. Yep, 100%. Any sort of water catchment. By all means, have bottled waters, but know your water sources. Know your local area. Always have that as a backup. Water stored in any form, even if you're lucky enough to have the space to have these huge containers, you're still on a countdown clock if you've no way of getting more water. Oops, the audio issue is my end. I had my playback speed set to 1.2, which doesn't work for live, obviously. I can't go 1.5 times faster than I am doing live. I don't think, that wouldn't work. Interesting. Hawkins, get on the screen and tell us what you're going to be teaching at the Scottish meet. The Scottish meet, it's a good point. And, right, 48 people in here. It will be a first come, first serve basis. I've just had another cancellation. So there's a space on the Scottish Meet. 27th to 29th of June. Payment was due yesterday, at least. And yeah, there's a space open. So anybody who wants to get on that, email me very quickly at ukurbanprepper@gmail.com. Excuse me. Who's banned? Did you get banned from the channel, Miss Worm? That's shocking. Why can't I see Pilgrim? Ask Pilgrim, has he got me, I don't know, hidden or blocked or something? I don't think I've got him blocked. I can't see Pilgrim. Somebody will have to translate for him. Well, he's invisible in our chat, Miss Worm, so I don't know what's going on. I really don't know. I hear there's a bad drought coming to England right now. Fill as much as I would take that with a pinch of salt. I just think that's people are jumping on that, and we'll get, you know, how long could we possibly have a drought for in England? The people that need to prepare for this are the people that have absolutely nothing. If you are a prepper and you have more than a week's worth of stuff, trust me, you'll survive a hosepipe ban or a drought. That's not happening. That's overhyped. That's clickbait for me. Don't forget to hit that like button. The reverse osmosis machine. How will you power it if the grid goes down? Solar power banks. Have you tested it? Will it work? How much power? Yes. I don't know how much it drains, but let me just reach over. And so it runs off this little one here, which I've had for ages. You can hence with the tape holding it together. But this bad boy, which look, it's fully charged. I do charge them. It runs off that, no problems. I ran it when I was testing it for a good, 45 minutes or an hour off that, and it never even dropped below the first bar. So it will run for a while on it. And if you can solar charge these, then you're going to be more than all right. It doesn't take all that much power, I don't think. So we shall see. Test with time. I will keep trying it in different places. I'm going to take it with me next time I go on my overnight and see if I can do it on the fly out of that lake and see how that goes. How do you UK preppers approach security giving knife and gun restrictions? Well, we try not to talk about it too much for very good reasons. But people think we're more restricted than we are. You can still go to a shooting club in the UK. You can still go to an archery club in the UK. You can still go clay pigeon shooting. All these things exist in the UK. And yeah, you've seen my knives and stuff like that on videos. It's fine. It's all about, I get why they're trying to do it because of these idiots running around the streets with machetes, mainly kids. But we can still have a lot. It's just very restrictive of what we could carry. It's not like the States where you can openly carry stuff around. It's only for a purpose, going from A to B, and I'm going to go and do archery in a club. I'm not just going to go and take it out to a national park and shoot things. So we're not as restricted, but we do approach security as in mainly fortifying our homes and stuff like that, possibly more so, because we can't bug out. We've no big wilderness. So that's probably one of the biggest issues. We have a person. Hello, my friend. How are you?
How are we doing, mate? Yeah, good here.
Yeah, not so bad. Did you see that last question there from Metalhead Doc?
I did not.
How do you UK preppers approach security, giving the knife and gun restrictions? Always a fun subject to get us all banned.
999.
999, yeah. Well, I mean, the main concern I was just saying there, we don't have the wilderness. We can't really bug out as much. We might have to bug out, you know, if it's no matter how much stuff you have to protect yourself with. If it's 20 guys versus you don't want to really be making that stand, right?
Correct. Yeah, so, it's, as you say, it's a subject that you're difficult to mention in this country, isn't it? Due to our lack of castle rules that they have in America.
Yeah. It is worth mentioning, though, to have multiple plans for that very reason, though, right? Like, don't just think, well, I'm going to bug out and I'm going to go and sleep in that forest right there, because if that's burnt down or it's full of 20 other families, you need to have multiple options, right?
So I can't think of any way you can bug out in this country. As somebody who likes to wild camp, and I try to just disappear and find a spot, it's so hard to find somewhere away from people just for a night that if something was to go wrong and multiple thousands of people, even not even hundreds of thousands or millions, left their properties, if you went to the local bush on the side of the road, there'd be somebody already sleeping in it. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think bugging out is just to avoid an immediate situation. I think you would never you could never bug out in this country and stay somewhere, right? You'd have to be on the move at that point.
Yeah.
It would have to be convoy jobs, like I'll sleep here tonight, it's safe enough, I've got to move on in the morning kind of thing. Yeah. So I can't see Pilgrim at all, guys, in the chat. I don't know what's going on. I'll have to check my settings afterwards. I don't know if he annoyed me at some point or I annoyed him at some point, but we'll have to figure out if we've muted each other. In addition to the water bottles under the kitchen cabinets, 8 IBC tanks to catch rainwater, a filter, and supply of activated carbon water treatment tablets from Cartagena, I think that is. What's your water plan, Hawkins? What water contingencies have you got?
I have 350 litres in 25-litre jugs. I have 1,200 litres outside in a potable water tank that's plumbed in and pressurised to pump the water back into the house if I want to. And then I've got just tons of water bottles in the fridge and stacked about. And then I live near a river, as you know. I have caravan rolling water barrels that I can roll down to the river and pump it out. I bought the 8-hill reverse osmosis filter that you recommended.
Which took a while. Phil One has just asked about that. Do you have a link for the machine? It should be in the description. It's a permanent link in my ways you can support the channel, and there's a discount code in there as well, Phil. Sorry, carry on, Hawkins.
No, that's all right. I've got multiple water filters like Catadine pockets and Sawyers, and I hate Life straws, but I do have a couple somewhere. And then I have SteriPens. I have hand crank SteriPens, so if the power's out, you can crank it to power the UV light. And then I have the MSR SE 2000, I think it is, which creates chlorine from salt. So you put your little bit of salt into it, and it uses electrolysis and creates chlorine. So that's if you wanted to mass disinfect water for neighbours and friends and people like that. So
there you go. You're pretty covered on the waterfront. Have you given it a timeline? Do you know how much water you've got, like before you'd have to start collecting and sterilizing, like days wise, months wise?
Yeah. So as I say, 1,200 liters. There's 1,500 liters of water there. There's me, the wife, and the baby. So you'd be talking a few months if you were to really ration it. But there's also rainwater tanks as well that I can pull off the roof. But to be fair, I think I mentioned the other day in one of the chats on Discord, it's hardly had anything in it now for months and months and months because we've just had no rain. So it's something that you think you could rely on being in the UK, but as there's been where I live, there's been next to no rain for since January.
And do you put any credence in this potential upcoming drought, or is it a classic, we've had a bit of a summertime, so we're going to have a hosepipe ban? I don't see it being a full-on drought, not in this country, surely.
I think there will be a drought to a degree, but not in the way that you might think of it for
not in the
hot
fear
Mediterranean climate. Yeah. I think it's going to be a case of the reservoirs are dropping low. Hawkins has got his hosepipe on his front and back gardens all the time, so therefore we're going to ban the hosepipes.
Your fault, all your fault.
Yeah, basically, yeah. I did actually start hand drilling a well a couple of years ago, and I got down 3.5 meters, and I was knackered at the time because the first meter was an absolute killer to get through. So I do want to try and drill that again, but I'll rent a post hole digger next time to break that first meter or two, and then just carry on. It's nice, easy digging once you get down. It's just that couple of meters that are compacted.
That's cool. I'd love to know. I'd love to see how that goes. Definitely. I got a couple of questions in here. Mehdi said, do you have a designated room in which you and your family will live during cold weather seasons or possible threat? For me, not cold weather as such. I think, you've just got to carry on, stiff up a lip and all that. But for the only thing I've got is if it's fallout, then I've got a central room in the house that has no external windows. It has an open area to going into the kitchen, which can be blocked off. So that would what I'd do for fallout, but not really for cold weather. Have you got a safe room there, Hawkins?
For fallout, no. I'd probably just try and sit on the landing as far away from any external wall as possible. But for cold weather, if I couldn't run my boiler, which I should be able to off batteries for quite a while, then I would retreat to the garage and move some stuff out. You've been in the garage, but it's got a diesel heater in the bottom corner, so I can just use that to continuously pump heat out into here. And then if it was looking like a long-term event, I'd drill a hole through the internal wall into the living room and just pump the diesel heater out into the living room then behind. But yeah, that's the
improvise, adapt, to overcome. That's what it's all about. Rob B, can you carry a Leatherman? Traditional ones that we used to get, no, because their blades lock out. You can modify them so the blades don't lock, and you can get ones now that don't lock out. We can't have a blade that locks out pretty much over 2.5 inches, I want to say. Is that right?
Something like that, yeah, 2.5 inches. So
we have to have special contingencies. This is Mrs. Urban Prepper's My First multi-tool. And that has a blade on, but it doesn't lock out, he says, as it's stiff, but it doesn't actually lock out, so it's fine for her to carry around. She's going to do a review on that on the channel herself, so I won't show you anymore. Let's check just go down. While I'm checking the comments, Hawkins, I wanted to talk a bit about, I did pull it up, this India-Pakistan situation.
Ooh, yeah.
Because I've always seen that as one of the tinderbox potential events. You know what I mean? It's the one that I look at and think, if that kicks off, it could all kick off. What do you think?
There's a lot of hatred there between the two countries. They neighbor each other. They have, what's the best way to describe it, ongoing issues and tensions due to water rights, the fact that the water drops through India to feed Pakistan, and they can throw the gates closed and basically cut the country off from the majority of the water that they require, which they do to a degree, limit it, and have hydro and stuff in place that regulates that. And yeah, they both nuclear powers, so I mean, India, from what I understand, has the larger military, stronger military. Pakistan always had a smaller one.
But they've got Chinese backing, right?
Yes. So Pakistan have sold a lot of their ammunition to Ukraine, allegedly. So they don't actually have a lot. But yeah, they have China supplying them with jets, and India, I think, is using, was it Rafales, is it? The French they've been buying from, and obviously they used to buy from Russia. But so India align with Russia, and obviously China and India don't get on because of their lines of control that they issue and squabble about. So China feed weapons to Pakistan. So it's a very complex topic, and yeah, it has the potential to get very messy, doesn't it?
It's weird, isn't it? Because it's almost a situation that Trump can say what he said, where he goes like, "Let them fight," because he's not really got a horse in the race for that one as such, has he?
No.
Whereas we seem to be tying closer monetary ties with India at the moment. So I don't know. It's an odd one, and the problem, I think, the reason we look at it so closely is we've got a massive, like, multicultural country, and I've seen the mosques and the temples come out and them end up having a scrap, and I've seen fights in our streets when I was younger, so it could potentially spill out across the world.
Yeah, it really does have that potential. I mean, the whole world's a bit of a powder keg, isn't it? You know, if that kicks off anymore, and then you've got obviously Ukraine and Russia still ongoing. You've still got China who eyeing up Taiwan, and then, you know, if that was to kick off, I think North Korea would just go into the south just for a laugh at that point. Right? Why not?
Yeah, well, you know, if everyone's attention's elsewhere, that's the perfect time to do it, right?
Yeah.
Metalhead Doc, do Anderson shelters still exist in people's back gardens? You might find the odd old deer with one, but they're very few and far between. But the prefabs lasted quite a while. People are still living in prefabs that were built in the wall that should have lasted 10 years. So that's quite interesting. A living room with a log burner. It actually heats the whole house. So only extremely cold weather would force me to choose. Oh, log burner, real prepper. It's a real prepper, not like us. Miss Worm, I posted the StreamYard link again. Can you keep hold of that and post it as people come in? If anyone wants to join us, it's an open mic night. You're welcome to come and join the conversation. Get involved. And in the chat, you can use capitals or super chats to get questions in. So, yeah. Do you think it'll de-escalate then?
I do. Yeah, I do. I think both countries would have to look at what's gone on in Russia and Ukraine and the losses on either side, and how hard it is to back out from that situation once you've got into it. Nobody wants to lose millions, do they? So,
but they also don't want to lose face, right? They don't want to be the one to stop.
Correct.
It's that whole last word thing. It's whoever gets the last attack in. So I've just seen there 10 explosions near international airport in India, administered part of Kashmir. Officials have said. So still going on. Do you think we have to be more vigilant over here because of it?
No, unless it was a situation like you say, where if tensions flare up in certain parts of the country that have certain demographics of population, and you end up caught in the middle of an escalating bit of a riot on the fallout of it. I think other than that, other than that, and potentially nukes flying, you know, we're not going to see any issue. But it won't change anything for me.
Rob says they have an Anderson Shelter Facebook group. There you go. It's an exclusive club. I'm not sure an Anderson Shelter would do you much good against modern armaments. I can't capture the link, unfortunately. Can you? What? Why can't you capture the link? All right. Okay. I'll just keep posting it. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Rob B's asked a question there just about did I bury IBC totes? No, Rob. I could not be bothered to dig a hole for an IBC tote to save my life, so I bought a above ground potable slimline water tank off eBay. I think it's about 400 quid, 450 quid, and it's about 600 mil wide by maybe 2 meters long by 1.5 meters tall. And it just slides down the side of the house where I've got a bit of space for it.
It doesn't sound like it's going to be like take over your whole garden. So it's.
I was always the person who said I would just filter water,
Mm-hmm.
and then eventually it dawned on me that you've got to have water to filter. So
you'd have been running to the river on day one with carrier bags.
Nobody wants that, do they? So it'd be like the Americans, remember, in the fuel shortages where the pipeline went and they were trying to fill bin bags with petrol in the back of utes and stuff over there.
Beggars belief. It really does. Pakistan's problem is that they don't have no ammo to fight a sustained ground conflict, says Mehdi. I'm sure they could acquire that though if they needed to. Years of infighting and people across both countries don't think this is actually going to mean much for us, says Preparing the Path. There was another question. Sorry, it was Phil again. He said, is there a shelf life on the filters for the reverse osmosis machine? There's a literage life, right? Is it 50,000 or something stupid like that? I can't remember. Have you got the box in iShot? Mine's upstairs.
I do have it close. I think the row filter, so the reverse osmosis, is 2,300 litres to 3,000 litres, and the hybrid filter in it does 1,100 to 1,500 litres. So right. It's not massive amounts, but it's enough if you're just using it for drinking water that it get you many months.
Yeah. And it doesn't just
my radio you can hear in the background.
It's got low voltage, but it's not just clean drinking water. It gives you the grey water as well, which you can then use for washing up and things like that.
Yeah,
washing clothes and stuff. So it does make the most of it. And I don't think the filters are that expensive to add a few more on at the back. Did you get extra filters when you got yours, or did you just get the machine?
I did. I bought one extra row and 2 or 3 extra hybrid filters, so they're vacuum sealed and stacked away in the water purification box on the shelf.
There you go.
Yeah,
that's the way to do it.
The ones that I struggle with, the ones that are in it, knowing the best thing to do with them, because they've had water in, and I took your advice. I disconnected them, let them all dry out, and then I vac sealed them. But there will still be water in it. But I'm going on the fact that if you run it when you turn it on and let it run for 10 minutes, you're gonna
let it run through. Yeah. Taste test. That's what you do. You drink it first. If you don't die, the rest of the family can have it. It's a handy little thing to have, and it says it's portable. It's not something you'd throw in a bug out bag, but you could definitely have it in the car and take it down directly to a water source and filter it straight from it. So yeah, it's cool. John C. Baofang, low voltage.
Yeah, I posted a picture before, didn't I? Brian inspired me to cycle all the batteries on my electronics, so I'm going through all my...
Oh, you're killing everything.
Yeah, drain all the batteries and charge everything back up again, so I've not done it in a long time.
That's all right, unless SHDF happens just as you've drained everything.
Yeah.
Everything's at zero. Zoom. Oh. Don't worry. Mike's battery banks are fully charged.
That makes a change.
That's a funny guy. Anyone else wants to join in the chat? It's an open forum today. The StreamYard link is in the chat if you want to come and join us.
I thought people would be queuing to get on.
No, everyone gets camera and voice shy, and people prefer to be on keyboards. This is your chance, trolls. Come and speak to me to my face. No notification again. YouTube playing games. It was I didn't schedule it far enough in advance to give you the half-an-hour notification. I literally went, I'm going live, and just went live. So sorry, Robert. Can't blame them. 60 people in here though. Really appreciate you being here. Smash the like button. It's really appreciated. This is your live, guys, so you can either join in, ask questions, or whatever you want to do. What's your next preps, Hawkins? You're always eyeing something up. Apart from my karaoke machine.
Yeah, I actually, I'm going to try and stop for a while.
He's trying to quit.
Yeah, I've spent a hell of a lot and spent a hell of a lot of time, and I spend a hell of a lot of time thinking about things and scenarios like all day, every day sort of thing. So now that I'm doing the big purchase of solar going on the roof, and it's summertime, and I never seem to prep as much or think of it as much in the summer. It's coming into winter that my brain goes more towards it. So I'm going to try, and the solar's going on in 4 weeks, and then I'm going to try and not do any more prepping for the rest of the summer. I mean, it won't work like that, but that's my plan, is to just have a bit of time off from it. without trying to sound like I've got everything and I know everything, because I certainly don't. Nobody does, but I've spent a lot of time thinking things through, putting things in place to mitigate certain circumstances and stuff that I've kind of run out of things now. So the only thing I could do is just build on what I've got, and I've got a lot of food, I've got a lot of water purification, I've got a lot of first aid. So it's like all I'm going to do is just keep adding, and at some point you do need to draw that line, don't you? So I don't know. We'll see.
I feel like it's a good opportunity for you to start on the skills side of things, especially with it being summer as well. Maybe, I mean, because it's not something you've got to spend a lot of money on, but it's just learning and stuff like that. So, yes, Rift Security, you can join, and it's up to you if you give permission for your camera or not when you join. You're more than welcome to jump on.
Another one who wants to get out of modding.
Do you think it's just World War III getting more and more as countries getting more and more countries involved? It's kind of these little tinder boxes all over, these little conflict points opening up. It's difficult to categorize a World War III. It will never have a conventional war in a similar sort of way as World War II was, I don't think, the way modern society and modern weapons work. But you could argue we're already in it. You could argue it's if NATO gets involved fully. There's all sorts of ways you could spin it. It all depends on your point of view. Are we in World War III, Hawkins?
Yes.
Yes, there we go. There's your answer.
Yeah.
You didn't mince around it like me.
I feel like if you look back through history of, well, the history we're taught about humanity and how many years we've been here and the wars that have happened in the different civilizations and the massacres and the extinctions and the coming and goings of civilizations, we seem to have existed since the end of World War II in this period where the devastation was so high in World War II, and it feels like the countries of, especially Europe, have tried so hard to forge alliances and stop those events and stuff from unfolding to cause it again. But I feel now enough time has passed. What are we now, 70 years? No, 80? Probably 80 years, something like that, since the end of World War II. I feel like we've come to that point now where those memories have faded, the people have died, everybody else can't remember it and hasn't experienced it firsthand, and we're just coming to this new era again where something is kicking off, and it just feels like it's bubbling and the pot's just starting to simmer and it's about to just boil over the top.
But we never had that cooling off period between World War I and World War II, right? Rift, nice to see you or hear you here. How are you doing?
I am doing good.
Oh, it broke up a bit then. Testing.
I've got some sort of lag here, and then some sound issue if it's sort of going round and round in circles.
It's coming through a bit, but it is a bit delayed. But yeah, good to hear your voice anyway. What's your thoughts on this Rift? Well, we're just on the World War III subject. Are we in it, or is it coming, or is it ever going to happen?
Hang on, I have to sort this sound issue. I've got you coming in 3-4 times.
So, it's because you've got YouTube open in the background. You need to close YouTube down. Now it's coming through StreamYard.
Here we go. Whoa, button clicking. Oof, that's grown-up stuff. That is right. How's that?
Right.
That seems better.
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah, yeah. So, just what's your thoughts? Do you think we're in World War III, or do you think it's on its way? What's your thoughts on that subject?
I do think we're in it, but I don't think anybody's sort of mainstream media is going to openly put it on the tabloids until something major happens over here.
Till it affects us on our doorstep, then.
Yes, if you remember back when Gulf 2, as they called it, when 9/11 went off, it was all over the tabloids, all over the front pages, with big splashed all over it. We are at war, and I thought, right, that's in colour. It must be true then.
Yeah, no, you're right. It takes that event, and that's why people suspect false flag events all the time, right? Like the media or the government needs an excuse to announce the war. But if we send troops into any conflict, are we not by default at war?
I would agree with that, yes, because once we've gone past the point of sending lots of money and humanitarian aid in the form of big bags of rice or whatever, I think once we start sending munitions and then it's bodies and planes and tanks, I would argue that we're in it, and whether we like it or not, we've committed. We're not sending first aid kits and food. We're sending we're sending weapons or instruments of war.
Yeah.
That's how I see it anyway.
Yeah, we're fueling the fire, as it were. We are fueling the flames, definitely. Just looking at the chat here, the USSR was officially dissolved on December 26, 1991. We were in the Cold War until then. That's a good point, though. I mean, conventional wars before, there's been a surrender, there's been something like this. If people are classing this as World War III, but there's 6 or 7 different theaters of war happening around the world, if one stops, it's not the end, right? How does this world peace, is that the only possible outcome to say it's not World War III anymore?
Well, that's never going to happen, is it?
Oh, ye of little faith. Have you not watched Star Trek? Come on.
My icon is a nuclear blast going off. Unlike Brian, who thought it was a penis, but it is a nuclear blast.
Brian thought that because it's mushroom shaped. That's all I'm saying. Speak of the devil, he shall hear you and appear.
Oh,
There he is, look.
Evening, sir.
How are you doing?
Look at that. We've got a Scottishman and a Welshman. Now we need a translator. That's what we need.
What could possibly?
Can we not just go with sign language?
Mel said, "How am I late?" I don't know. There was nothing scheduled, Mel. Brian, do you want to get in on this before we talk about something else? World War III, are we in it, or is it coming? What's the timeline on it? It's day X tomorrow, according to some YouTube channels, all the time. So
The boiling frog springs to mind.
yeah,
Very much the boiling frog. They're turning the temperature up. You've got all these conflicts just turning the temperature up all the time. You've got shooting wars in every theatre, apart from China so far. Right? So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on.
So is it? Would you class it as we're in it, or is it still the tipping point?
It's still the tipping point. It's semantics, because we're saying we're not directly involved because we're not actually firing the bullets, but we're supplying the bullets.
Yeah.
So it
and
depends
showing
when
them
you
how
draw the
to pull the trigger and showing them where to pull the trigger at and where to point the shadow missile. I mean, trigger.
It's a very, very thin line.
Type in these GPS coordinates and press that button.
So,
And
I mean, is boots on the ground the benchmark then? Is that when it's war, when it's boots on the people in uniform on the ground fighting? Is that when it's?
Of course, we've already got people in uniform. There's got to be special forces of ours been playing in Ukraine for the last 2.5, 3 years, 4 years maybe. Like, so if you want to class that as the start of the war, then we've been in it for 3-4 years ourselves. I'd love to see a freedom of information request about deaths or things from our soldiers over there that haven't been reported in mainstream media, because I'll guarantee we will have suffered some, and unfortunately our guys will have come back, and we just
training accidents
know about it. Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, helicopter went down somewhere, or absolutely.
I don't know about anybody else, but I half expected something to happen with this victory parade in Russia today.
False flag.
Yeah, there's an opportunity there, wasn't there?
I did think Zelensky might, but then I just thought, if I was Putin and Zelensky did that, that would just give me the opportunity then to just launch a nuke at Kiev. So that's a lose-lose, isn't it?
Press every button, every red button. We have a new person. Prepared the path. Hello, sir.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, all.
Hello. Good to hear your
Good
voice.
evening.
Hello.
It used to be a Survivor 198 just for everybody. Changed it now.
All right. Okay. You're getting too much flack and had to change your name. Brian's going to have to do that soon. Where do you stand on this front? Prepared the path with World War III. Are we in it?
My personal is no.
And what would be the tipping point?
For me, it would be a lot more boots on the ground. Personally,
Yeah.
I think it's
Like
a lot dark at the moment.
on the media showing you them actually on the ground. You mean, yeah?
Yeah, you've got to be. Yeah, it's got to be seen to be on the ground. I mean, I know Europe is saying like, oh, we're defense spending's up and everything else, but until there is actual boots on the ground, which there probably is, I'd probably say no at the moment.
Right. Well, we'll hopefully we'll never hit one of those tipping points. We have another guest joining us. We're going to end up with a full house soon. I'll have to cap it at 6, I think. So you'll have to wait till somebody leaves. Anybody else wants to join? And we have, look at this. He must be a YouTuber. He's got a fancy mic. Hello, World Survivors. Can you hear us okay?
How are you doing? I can hear all of you fine. Can you hear me?
Oh, it's yeah, I can hear you perfectly. What's the accent?
I suppose Central Scotland, but I suppose
Oh.
even here my accent's a little bit flaky. You
You
didn't have enough Scotsmen in your chat, so I thought I might just jump in.
One was enough.
Well, that's the channel improved by an order of 2.
Definitely.
We're going to have to call the UN soon for some kind of translator, aren't we?
Yeah, definitely. Miss Worm's trying to moderate and doesn't have a clue what half of you're saying.
If Miss Worm's moderator is simple, we're all in trouble.
Yeah, the broomstick is out. World Survivalist, good to see you. Good to have you on. Hopefully, you'll be on a Prepper podcast really soon with myself, and we'll get to know you properly. But what's your take on the World War III situation? Because obviously, YouTube will tell you it's happening tomorrow every 2 minutes. But are we already in it, or what?
I think we are already in it, but I think we're already in it in the sense that the Cold War never really ended. There was just a bit of a lull in the Cold War, and what we're seeing now is a bit of a heating up of the new Cold War because the rise of China. That's the thing that's really changed everything since the last Cold War, and we're seeing an orientation away from the main focus of the United States on Russia to China and that area.
Mm-hmm.
That's my impression of it anyway.
Yeah. Do you think this India-Pakistan conflict that's going on at the moment, is that going to exacerbate this, or is it a separate issue altogether, do you reckon?
I think it's a separate issue, although where we will see some exacerbation in it is in who it is that supports these conflicts. So we're already knowing that China supported Pakistan with regards to weapons, supply and assistance. So we can already kind of see, well, China's taking a side then, so we know that's you can see who's taking whose side, really, is what I think with that.
Yeah. It might be a bit of a blessing that America's not got a boat in this race, I should think. I'm going to have a quick look at the chat. If there's any questions, if you guys, it's an open forum tonight. You want to bring up any subjects, ask any questions, feel free to jump in and just.
Is anybody else struggling with Mike's audio?
Nope, just you, Hawkins. I can hear you. Sound like a robot.
But that was his normal voice, to be honest. I've got one.
Go on.
I spent hours today product testing, and then I did an extensive video that was 3 hours long that I chopped just for the key points. What did you think?
Did you mean your Temu solar panel review where you just hammered it?
Hammer.
Yeah, that one.
Subtle but very very accurate. I mean, you could do a Temu review every week on any product with the same results, I think.
I thought your
To
product
be
testing
fair-
was on the hammer.
Yeah, the product testing was on the hammer. Yeah, how did the hammer
I
hold
thought
up?
that was a fantastic hammer.
The variable adjuster, it was fine. Do you know the last destruction test I did with Temu stuff was shooting it with 2 rim fire, 38 special, 357s.
That was
And then blown.
that held up quite well for a Temu product, though, didn't it?
It held all the small arms rounds, but the 6.5 Creedmoor just went straight through it at 200 meters. But for 20 quid a plate in SHTF, I think it's a winner. Like,
Yeah, just avoid the Creedmoor. Yeah, no, a smashing review, as John C said. Yeah, it was a good
thank
one.
you. It was almost Mr. Angry as much as the Faraday cage.
Yeah, you did get a bit wound up on that, didn't you?
Just a smidgen, mate. Just a smidge.
Let's put it out there. I give it a try. Nothing to lose in this situation.
What we're putting out there.
Well, yeah, don't tell Brian to put things out there. This could end up with me banned.
That's the pink elephant trick again.
Don't think you meant to hit solar panels with a hammer, says Phil. Can't wait to catch up on that one. Says
Hailstone test.
Says who?
Mel. Well, Brian's going to be doing some more extensive tests. I hope your testing at the Scottish Prepper meet is not going to be just you stood outside a van with hammers going, this is a crap solar panel, smash. This is a...
No, I'm going to bring some bits and pieces. Just some MC4 cables, some connectors. I'll try and pick up a couple of panels to bring with me, a few charge controllers and a battery, and let people just piss about and build one. There's not much point in me doing it.
No, it's good. A hands-on demonstration. That's what we like. Well, anyone who doesn't know the Scottish Prepper meet, we have got an extra place up for grabs. So send me an email, ukurbanprepper@gmail.com if you want to get on that. 27th to 29th of June. Got first aid training by Rogue Roger Combat, solar setup and demo by Brian, radio and comms with Hawkins, bug out bags with Viking Mitch, UK PN intro with me. A live fireside that we're going to do there with a live audience and stuff, which should be interesting.
I have to wear my anonymous mask.
You were going to have to. I was thinking that. I don't know how you're going to get involved with that one. Bring, sell, swap all your own gear and stuff like that. By all means, use it as a flea market. Get rid of some old stuff or some stuff you've got an extra of. And then we'll have... I will host my own live Q&A there as well. And we should have other things scheduled. So loads of stuff on. 25 quid bargain.
How many places are left? Sorry, Mike.
You are?
How many places are left?
We've got one because it was a cancellation. Purely because it was a cancellation. We were sold out for quite a while. So there is one place. First come, first serve, I'm afraid, ladies and gents. So chuck me an email. Question from Miss Worm, our awesome moderator. What's the most pointless prep you've seen advertised on YouTube? Ooh, sounds like a round table question. Hawkins, you're right next to me, so you can go first. What's the most pointless prep you've seen either advertised or promoted by? Don't say any of the ones I've promoted or you'll be kicked off. But
I'm drawing a blank. I'm trying to think. I might have to phone a friend here and pass it over to somebody else.
We'll pass on. Rift, have you got any?
Yes, I've got two that I can think of straight away.
Go on.
One was a massive underground bunker being promoted by Atlas Survival Shelters. Great channel, but I haven't got $500,000 to spare, and neither I haven't got a backyard that size.
That's not pointless, though. That's a great prep.
It was pointless on his speed.
It was lovely watching it, but at the same time, I thought, no, if I bought that, that would take up half a street in the Welsh Valleys, and someone's going to notice me digging a honking big hole through 4 houses.
And the wife would divorce you for remortgaging the house to pay for it.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, you can't. And the other one was by a very large, prominent channel that's been spoken about a lot today in the Discord, and it was I think it was the company, is it Myra, that do all the gas masks and stuff, but it was an enclosed sort of it looks like a mini greenhouse that you stick your dog in with a powered air filtration unit. And I thought, there's no way my German Shepherd is going to fit in that and be comfortable, walk around, have a pee and a poo, and eat his food. And I thought,
You mean you've not got a full gas mask system for your dog? Oh, terrible.
it's a carrier bag with a hole in the end. I'm not sick.
Call yourself a prepper.
Do you know what I mean? No, yeah, I'm not a prepper. I haven't got a chemical gas chamber thing for the dog.
You got a lot
Dog
of
got a log burner.
Has your dog got a log burn? Brian, come on, have you got a pointless one you've seen?
I have. Some time ago, there was a fledgling channel on YouTube. Guy was trying to promote this end of the world butt plug that you store all your files on. I can't remember what it was called. I think it was
You break it up, Brian. You break it up. Oh, he's gone. Gone. What happened with that connection? Have you got any others, Brian?
No, that was the worst.
All right. Okay.
Brian, you need to run some Cat 6 out to your new bunker because your internet's a bit flaky there. You dropped off.
Yeah, it's shocking.
That's what it is, mate. Sorry.
World Survivalist, have you come across any pointless preps you've seen on YouTube?
I don't know about pointless preps as in like individual things. I've seen, I think it might have actually just been a meme though, you know, where you see the Crocs with all the different attachments and stuff on it. I did once
headlights.
Yeah, I did once get an email from a company asking me if I wanted to review this belt that I could only describe as like the cheapest survivalist Batman belt I've ever seen in my life, where it had a little bit of everything in it. You know, I had a little bit of rope, I had a little bit of fishing line, I had a little bit
Did
of.
it come with a chest wig as well?
It may as well have done. It really was a piece of crap, and I looked at it and I thought, you know, there's no point in you even sending me that because I'm not gonna review it. I'm not even gonna open the package because it looks like garbage. But
that's the reply. That's the reply I always give. Feel free to send it me, but I will give it an honest review. So make sure you trust your product.
Yeah,
I've said that. I've said that to about 8 companies. 2 have followed up and sent stuff.
To be honest, it looked so tacky. I don't think I would have even bothered. You know, it would have eaten more of my time, sort of setting up a camera to, you know, than it would have been worth. But yeah, I do occasionally see a lot of people on channels with these multi-purpose utility items, and I always find, you know, if an item is a multi-utility item, it's probably a piece of crap. You know, have one item that's really good at the one thing that it needs to be used for, and you know. And not an item that's supposedly 15 different things.
Unless it's a Leatherman, of course.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Leatherman's hands down are the best.
I remembered, Mike, the most pointless and stupid thing I've ever seen on YouTube.
Go on.
It was somebody doing a bug out bag review, and they had a grappling hook in it.
Oh wow! Maybe
Yep,
maybe their bug out location was like the Devon Cliffs down.
Isn't it a grappling hook though? One of those things that you think of as a kid that would never have any application in real world. I don't know.
It was all I know is it was a very handy tool in the Worms games series. That's all I know.
Fair call.
Prepared the path. Have you got anything for this one?
I think the worst I've seen so far is when they take the cheese grater out to the field and they make these little TikToks and they make little candles and they grind it all down and they put it into a tuning can. It's like, surely there is a better way of doing things. It's not a 20-hour candle. You can buy them.
Yeah. No, I get it. There's an argument. There's a question for you, which somebody came up. I can't remember what channel I was watching. It was basically talking about survival skills and preppers promote skills, which I'm fully behind. Promote skills. in this day and age, and with everything you can get and how cheap you can get stuff, would you ever rub two sticks together to get a fire over the fact that you can buy 300 lighters? Is anyone into the kind of bushcraft, I want to say caveman type skills here?
Yes.
Yes, go on.
But I see where you're going with that question. I mean, obviously, if you're going to find yourself out in the woods, the best thing to have is a lighter if you're going to light a fire. You know, and then I would say the next best thing after that would be some sort of flint and steel, and then after that maybe a packet of matches, and you keep on going down to the point where, you know, if you're at the stage where you're rubbing two sticks together, then you really are in the shit.
Yeah.
But that's a fantastic skill to have, and it's incredibly underrated as a skill to be able to know how to do that. Actually,
I agree with you. I mean, I rewatched Castaway the other day, and how long it takes him to get that fire going. I agree with you, but that should be a skill set you have on top of a pile of preps that could do it easier, right? First.
Definitely. What one thing I do see in a lot of other videos as well, just because I like to rip on other videos that I see, is you'll see people going out with kit that deliberately makes it difficult to do the things that they're trying to do. You know, so they'll go out with a flint and steel, and they're there with flint and steel trying to like chip away at this rock to try and get a fire going. And I'm thinking, you know, you really could have just used a lighter for that. It's okay if you're there purely to learn that skill or there to practice that skill.
Yeah.
But there's no way in hell I would go into a genuine wilderness situation with nothing but my own knowledge as to how to rub two sticks together or a piece of flint and steel. You know, I'm going to take the most practical thing possible.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Definitely. So good skills to have, but don't just sit back thinking, well, I can start a fire with two sticks. I don't need to do anything else. I can survive.
Yeah. Even the best people that can do that have a very hard time at doing that. I once watched a Ray Mears video actually where he failed to do it, and he genuinely said on the video, you know, I just couldn't do it this time. I tried for 2 hours. It happens.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and which is all right in a cameras pointing at me, I can just ring McDonald's for a delivery if I need to situation. But if it is life or death, you can't give up after 2 hours. If you give up, that's it. Option B.
Yeah,
I've made a fire once with a fire bow. And that was in Australia in 37 degrees, and it took me probably 4 hours, and I probably drank about 8 cans of Stella while doing it. But honestly, I was like,
that's why it took 4 hours. You were like,
the sweat dripping off my forehead. But honestly, if it took me that long, and maybe it was selecting the wrong wood and stuff because I didn't know fuck all about it. But you know, if it took me that long in like 37 degrees and 10% humidity, I don't really fancy doing it anywhere else. Well, I've got plenty of blowtorches, lighters, and oxy tanks and propane. And
I think Hawkins, I think he's gotten a great one there. I think people underestimate how actually hard it could be if you're not prepped for the situation. And like people think, oh, I'm going to run out my back door, I'm going to jump over the fence, and I'm going to go into, for instance, any forest anywhere with a sleeping bag, and I'm going to be cushy. It's like, hold on a minute. You're leaving everybody else behind.
Well, that's because they did it once when they were 16, and it doesn't matter that they're now 60.
Exactly. I mean, even for some of the younger preppers, like, I mean, it's quite a lot of young people, obviously, on the channel. I'm sort of between 30 and 40. You would not catch me hopping the fence with a sleeping bag and going, great idea. Everything's hit the fan. I'm going into whatever forest. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm gonna survive there. No, you're not.
Yeah, you're not. Yeah, exactly. You're not. I'm gonna fish using a stick and a piece of string. Good luck.
Nope.
Oh, look at that! A $9.99 super chat. So we'll have to ask this question: how many tins of spam does Brian have?
Not enough.
I've got 12. I've got 12 at the moment.
36.
Let's go around the table. Who's got spam and how many? Hawkins.
I think I've got about 30 cans of Spam, but then if you count off Spam, like Royal Dane Bacon
We
Grill,
are-
I think there's another 72 cans of that.
This one question is going to throw us all into the prepper stereotype right here, isn't it? Rift, do you have Spam?
No.
No. There we go. There we go. No Spam for Rift.
I've got other variations of it. I don't like the taste of Spam.
I
Shocking.
feel a Monty Python sketch coming on.
Yeah, I can feel it coming and all. I've got other tin bakes. I mean, you just have to do it at the end of the day. I know it's not the healthiest of stuff, but you look at it, and I look at the sort of use by dates. But also, you got to make sure you eat what you store.
Yes, I was going to say that you've touched on a really good point for anyone new that's coming in. Don't think if all those preppers decide we're stocking Bacon Grill, don't think you have to get it if you can't stand Bacon Grill, because it's not the point.
Yeah, you might be all right for 1 or 2 meals, but after a couple of days of it, you're going to start throwing it around the room.
Brian was just showing his giant pork sword there.
No, it's like 1.8 kilograms of chopped pork.
I've got issues with it,
isn't it?
I've got issues. You've promoted this before, and I've got issues with this.
Go on.
Because at some point you're going to open it,
Yes.
and you're going to have to eat 1 kilograms of chopped pork in one sitting, or at least
No,
2 sittings.
You can put it in a solar
not
powered fridge.
necessarily.
Go on. Apart from your solar powered everything.
It could be lunches and meals for a couple of days at least. Or if you've got extended family there, or if you get refrigeration, it'll either go quicker or you can keep it longer. But for the price point and the quantity, and more importantly than that, it's got a really, really, really long use by date. And this one's like May 2029. So Costco do them. I'm going to be switching to them.
Is that because it's 2% pork? Is that
I'll tell you what it is, actually.
98% chemical?
Per 100 grams, it's 25 grams of fat, 3.1 grams of carbs, no sugar, 14 grams of protein, and 2.3 grams of salt. So for essentially reclaimed meat, that's not that bad. It's obviously going to have a huge fat content.
I'd always want to have the protein grams above my fat grams, ideally, but you know, it is what it is. Prepare the path. Have you got Spam?
Spam's worse. Spam's worse.
Yeah, I've got about 25 tins of Spam probably at the moment, and then probably 40 tins of Bacon Grill, which is basically the same.
Yeah.
One of us.
Well, one of us. Well, survivalists, do you have Spam?
No, I don't have any Spam.
Two without Spam.
How dare you?
I do like Spam.
He's got pigs in the backyard.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've had any Spam. Actually, I like to fry it up and eat it that way. But
Oh, that's great. That's great.
Shocking news. A Scottish person fries something.
I do fry.
Oh,
Are you thinking, Michael, that we have a bad diet?
Not at all.
I think the only reason I don't have any of it in my store is purely because nobody else in my household eats it. So it's one of those things where I've got a lot of tins of stag chili, and I have lots of hot dogs and lots of tuna, because we go through those things. Spam is one of those things where if I bought 10 tins of it, I would have 10 tins of it 2 years from now, and you know, I don't like it that much.
Full respect for the stag chili. It's an expensive tin in comparison to a lot, but it is very.
It's so good though.
Yeah, it is very good.
Especially
thank
with
you.
pasta.
Yeah, thank you very much, Snooker Mentalist, for the $9.99 super chat, and hopefully that more than answered your question on Brian's Spam situation. What is your biggest prepping mistake? Something you wished you had done differently? Started the fireside with these bunch of it. I know I'm joking. I think we've asked this on a lot of the podcasts, so you should all, be well prepared because, well, 2 of you have been on it, 2 of you are coming on it, and prepare the path. Don't know if you're going to get involved, but it's up to you. Hawkins, biggest mistake.
sorry.
Oh,
My biggest prepping mistakes are same with everything in life, really. If I don't buy what I originally want in the first place and settle for a cheaper option, I end up buying the cheaper option. I think of it as unsuitable, and after a period of time, I go out and buy the more expensive item that I wanted in the first place, by which time I've lost the money on buying the cheaper item. And so it's not a particular thing, but I have a habit of doing that in life, so I waste more money that I could have then put towards more preps, if you know what I mean.
yeah, I get that if you've got the money in the first place, but I would say there is something to be said for if you're on a budget and you're prepping, if you can only afford this version and this version and this version, and that gets you started and it gets you to a place where you're comfortable, then you can upgrade over time, right? So it's not really a mistake as such.
Absolutely, yeah. Like I'm say, looking at my solar system that I'm getting thrown in like in a month's time now. If I counted up the lead acid batteries that I've bought, the tons of little solar generators I've custom built, my little separate island setups with other lead acid batteries, panels that I've paid a fortune that have been stacked in the back garden, doing this and that, more flexible panels that I've got this, and I probably could have paid off half my solar system and had a 5 kilowatt system on my roof. So I have a habit of doing stuff like that. I go for the cheaper option, and really I should just save up longer and hope the world doesn't go Pete Tong in the meantime, and then get the one that I kind of wanted in the first place.
Yeah, I think if you're already at a half comfortable situation, you're more prepared than most people on your street, then you can afford that time to save up and stuff. Rift, prepping mistake, or something you'd wish you'd done differently?
Well, I mean, apart from starting. I would say in the beginning, it was definitely lack of planning and organization. I was spending money like there was no tomorrow, but I had lots of stuff in half a dozen different directions. There was no even halfway decent water plan, food plan. How am I going to cook food? Where am I going to put it? It was like, right, water filter over there. Oh, I like that water filter. And oh, I like that food. Oh, how am I going to store it? Oh, I'll buy that. And then it was, how am I going to cook it if there's no gas and electric? Right, I'll go and get one of these. And then it was just a mess. And I was sort of spiraling, and I thought, right, hold on. We're getting upside down on this. You got to sit down and literally start with yourself. So it was like, right, what am I doing, mentally or physically, or EDC, and then build up from there. And I thought, yeah, I should have done this in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
You're going to talk to the bank now and say sorry.
It's true, and it's a great point. And the funny thing is for any new preppers joining us, anyone who's like new to the channel or anything like that, planning's free. Just doing research and stuff like that, you've usually got the internet already, but planning stuff is free and coming on the right path. Don't be suckered into this, buy. I know that's ironic when I'll post a video showing you 10 things on Amazon. I'm not telling you to buy them 10 things. Do a plan. Yeah.
You little temptress.
You want my power banks. Prepared the path. Mistakes?
Me personally, there was a few. Hawkins got it bang on with buying cheap, because you always buy 3 times.
Yeah.
Also with prepping, because I was sort of before COVID. Everybody was like, "Oh, you're insane! Why are you why are you storing certain items?" I'm like, "Well, you never know."
Yeah.
But stock rotation is key. It's absolutely key. People don't realize it, but it really is key to keeping your stock, what you've got in your house, what you got rotational wise.
It's so tempting to buy lots and lots of cheap tins, lots of cheap, if MREs are on deal, the vegetarian MREs are always on a good deal. Don't get the sausage and beans, trust me. But it's so tempting to, when they're on a good deal like that, to just buy in bulk and think, I've got full shelves. Look, it looks like Brian's background. But if you don't eat it, food fatigue is going to be real in an SHTF situation. If it's stuff you don't like and stuff you don't eat, it's just going to sit there, gather dust, go out of date, and lose nutritional value. So, yeah, couldn't agree more. World Survivalist, mistakes?
Yeah, I think it's probably riding off the back of some of the other comments, but having an inventory list of what it is you actually have, where it is, for a long time, I don't really prep in the way that a lot of other preppers do, with lots and lots of tins of food and all this kind of stuff. But I do have a lot of equipment. I have a lot of outdoor equipment, usually for different environments, whether it be winter environments or hot environments and so on. And I must have wasted a fortune over the years just because I didn't keep a proper list of what exactly I had, where it was, what kind of condition it was in. I must have 6 or 7 different, water containers that are, exactly the same. But I just forgot that I had them, because they're squirreled away in a cupboard somewhere, and I just don't even know where they are. And, I don't know how many times I've put together grab bags and stuff over the year, but those grab bags never stay in the bags. They always end up, one's in the shed, one's in the car, one's somewhere else. And I can't even remember what's in all of them. So I think it's important to have a list of some sort. So now I have a very nice Excel list of exactly what I have and where I have it. And that's a really good thing to have, I think. And it saves you some money.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's a good organisation thing. Funnily enough, somebody approached me not so long ago who does a company who predefines all these lists, and it's an easy to use thing. And he sent me some samples, so I'm going to test them out. But Brian, you've got like the whiteboards and stuff. I remember seeing them the first time I came round. You had them in the attic, and everything's on there, so it's just at a glance, right? Organisation is definitely key, 100%. And you all probably put me to shame. If I turn my camera around, you'd be like, what is this hovel? One room's perfectly organised prep room. The other prep room is a hoarder's paradise. And there's probably stuff I have no idea I've still got. Brian, mistakes?
Don't subscribing to UK Urban Prepper.
That was a legacy mistake. That's an old. I have encountered a problem in here now. So I've made assumptions for the design on ventilation, and I didn't actually do the number crunching. So I've put in 4 75mm vents, too low, too high. Also, there's about 4 fans running at the moment, still controlling the temperature. So I'm not getting enough airflow. So I'm going to need to cut out the vents and double the size of the vents. And I'm probably going to put an air conditioning unit in it as well.
I'm just going to say, a small air conditioning unit, would that not regulate it a lot better?
It will, but it can only regulate it if it's got enough airflow as well. So I'll double the size of all 4 vents, and I'm going to stick in an air conditioner. So I'll need to go and buy one of the freaking things tomorrow. So, oh joy.
I'll mention my mistake as well. A couple. I've done a few, but we're not mentioning power banks today, so you can all bite me. But at first, it was prepping for just me. Similar to what World Survivalist said, it's nobody else in the house eats spam, so it's pointless having loads of spam. So I was prepping for just me, and when it came to a point where we needed to use some of the preps financially, it was like, oh, there's nothing there you actually will properly eat, or you only like it, you only like it. So that kind of woke me up there. And then recently I did a video where I lived off my preps for a week, and that opened my eyes to the falsehoods of a meal in a can. Change the batteries, Hawkins. The false meal in a can. So like a Heinz, I don't know, carbonara sort of thing. And when you look at the back of the can, it's like 250 or 300 calories. To get a calorie intake for an adult male, or even on rations, you'd have to have 6 or 7 of them cans. So stocking all these, counting them, thinking that's a meal, 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 was a falsehood. You really need to work out what you're going to be eating, if it's enough calories, the energy you're going to need and breaking that down into meals. So that was mine, I would say. So thank you for the question. That was a good one. I can't remember who asked it. It's disappeared off my screen. I've no other questions in there at the moment. So open floor, guys. What do you want to talk about? You're all going to stay silent.
Weather's nice at the moment, isn't it?
Asshole.
To be fair, Brian's loving it. His solar panels are cranking.
I'll tell you what I do want to ask, right? Because we've got a few new people here as well. Obviously, most of us know about the Discord group that we run and stuff like that. And it's great. It's great community, good to learn, stuff like that. Have any of you got realistic mags at the moment that you could literally tomorrow, if it happens tomorrow, you'd have people round and a mutual assistance group there and ready? It's all right talking about it online a lot, but without a plan in place and without actual people to rely on, has anyone put some thought into that?
I do not have that. I've got one friend in the village who thinks similar to me. Used to be a next door neighbour, now lives somewhere else in the village. He would be there to help, and he's local. The other people that I would, who are preppers-ish themselves, but unfortunately they live more towards where AK Prepper lives, up like time way. So too big a distance to make into a mag, really. Do you know what I mean? If something was to go wrong, you're not going to get an hour and a half, 2 hours drive down here.
Well, depending what happened, yeah, and how much early warning we had.
Yeah, I'd like one, but it's finding localish people. But then again, there's a guy in Zone 5 on the Discord I recognised one of his photos the other day. I won't say where he was, but realised that we frequent the same venue, so I'm going to meet him on Monday night, and he's only 8 miles away. So again,
that's what networking's all about. Yeah,
pick a Discord, find a prepper now who's 8 miles away, and I got another prepper who lives nearish him, who I met through Meshtastic, and there's the start of a little group, isn't there? So yeah,
that's cool. Yeah, Rift, what's your situation? Are you lone wolfing it?
There are circles of trust, and most are on the outer ones.
Yeah,
I won't say I'm always trying to cultivate. I'm quite particular with it. It may sound horrible and selfish, but I think if you're going to try to establish a mag, there have to be people of use. And that might sound really selfish and horrible.
Can't carry dead weight.
But that is my mentality towards it. Because it's all right. You said hypothetically, if I had that Atlas underground big boy bunker that took up most of the Welsh hillside, you're not going to just let everybody in, because disagreements about a ton of stuff will happen within minutes, won't it, at the end of the day?
Yeah.
So I think if you're really going to put effort and energy into an assistance group, I won't say everybody's got to get on 100% perfectly, but in reality, you've got to agree on most things. Otherwise, there's going to be a lot of friction, a lot. And when the pressure's on, in my experience, that is when people's true personality comes to the foreground. So, yeah, as much it would be lovely to, hey, look at this, and take everybody in and feed everyone and look after and all the rest of it, that makes for great novels and bedtime stories.
Yeah.
But, if not to drag it out, but to give an example, in the past I helped one family out. I say family, they're only a couple. Bit of food, bit of water, all the rest of it, and some conversation of, look, over time you can put your own away. You don't need to have lots and lots of money. Over time, each week, a couple of pounds, few tins, Yeah, sounds like a great idea, mate. Fantastic. Is that what you do? Yeah, because that's how I was brought up, and you know, you don't want to go shopping. There's nothing on the shelf. And 6 months later, it was, oh, have you got any more of those? No, I haven't. Sorry, I thought you had loads of it. I'm sure I saw loads of it in your garage. I did. I said I've used it all, thanks. And I thought, no, no. I've helped you out once, and I've tried to give you advice, and now 6 months later, you've got, oh, I'll just go knock on his door.
No. Triggered some red flags there, definitely. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, during the thing that can't be mentioned, in fact, what I like to call the bog roll wars and the Tesco skirmish.
Oh, say the pandemic. We usually get demonetized because of Brian anyway. Just say it.
I've been good.
If we're going for it, right? If we're having it, we're having it, right? It's the scamdemic, plandemic, and that's it. That's all the big words you've got, right? It was. I had a person say to me, you know, I've been here all day helping you out, and I thought, no, I've been trying to get rid of you all day, but all right, okay, let's see where this goes. And you've got so much toilet roll, and I thought, no, what you can see looks like a lot to you, but I'm not letting you in the house. There's none in the shelves, you know, in the shop. So can I have yours? And I went, And I thought, now, I've been putting toilet roll away for like 2 years by this point. Do you know what I mean? I hadn't gone out and bought it all.
Yeah.
And I thought, I know what to do with this person, because they've been a long conversation all day about the government should be doing this, and we pay taxes and all this sort of stuff. And I opened up a lovely pack of 24 and gave them one. I said, there you go. I said, you better use that sparingly, lovely boy. And I then sort of booed them out. And I thought, yeah, you're out. You're out, mate. You were gone.
just need to teach them military wiping. One sheet is all you need. Prepared the path. What about you?
Me personally, I've probably got about 7 people
that are preppers that are on board, or people you could call on.
A bit of both, probably 4 that I could call on, 3 preppers.
Yeah.
My location at the moment is probably the most fortifiable, so to speak. So yeah, everybody's coming to my house, unfortunately.
That's good, as long as you're prepared for it. That's what matters.
Well, there's different arcs of, like, I have like a sort of 4-layer system. I don't want to go into massive detail, but arcs of fire, everything else. Obviously, Brian Everett's aware of what's going on with. But yeah, there's probably 7 roughly, but then I'm getting onto the mesh-tastic system more than likely next week, and we'll try and get into that and get involved. So hopefully more will come along.
Yeah, it's good, and a lot of people are on board with that one. World Survivalist, are you the lone wolf category?
Yes, I am, and I think I probably have been all of the time. And you know, there are pros and cons to that way of thinking. It's not entirely by design, the lone wolf approach that I've taken, and it's one of those things where even by doing something like this and joining Discord and stuff, this is my attempt to not be a lone wolf all of the time with these kind of things. This is my attempt at networking with like-minded people who understand a little bit of what's going on in the world and have a little bit of foresight about them, because the pandemic demonstrated to me that the vast majority of people really don't, and there will be people out there who really suffer and really want to take whatever you have, or even feel entitled to take it, like Rift was saying, you know, because we've for nearly a century in this country grown up in a time of plenty and on demand, and it would be if SHTF ever really did happen in any one of its guises, we really would struggle in this country, I think, more than a lot of other places. Like I think they would be better prepared than places like the United States or Canada. These kind of, you know, these newer countries that had
Yeah.
pioneers. You know, the UK really isn't like that at all. I think it might be a bit of the island mentality about us, and you know, no man's an island. Is there's a lot of truth to that. And
Yeah. I mean, the island mentality is good 300-400 years ago if you're growing your own food and you're generating your own powers, but we have the island mentality without the resources these days,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, a massively overpopulated island now.
Yeah.
And when you're talking about wars that take place with hypersonic missiles and the likes, islands don't mean anything anymore. You know, we're not protected by oceans anymore.
No, definitely not. And our navy's not what it was in the 1700s. Brian, you're in a lucky situation. You've got some family and stuff quite close and stuff like that, and you kind of have them plans in place. Has it always been that way for you?
No, that only really kicked off probably the last 6 years. Like properly kicked off the last 6 years. So both of us, myself and my brother, doubled down on everything and just went nuts. And it was like buy all the things. That's pretty much how it went. And it's not slowed down any either, to be honest. Was
that you encouraging him, or was it both the same sort of thoughts at the same time?
Both. Similar interests, similar hobbies, similar outlook on life in general.
Mm-hmm.
We both watch keenly what's going on in the world, and like the chat was saying earlier on there, people are walking about with blinkers on and thought something's coming down the line.
Yeah.
Everybody can see it. Don't know what it is, but something's going to happen. And the attitude is somebody will have to fix it. So I don't know who that somebody is.
Well, it's always somebody else, right? That's who fixes it. If you're part of the masses of sheep. Snooker Mentalist, thank you very much for your 1999 super chat. It is really appreciated. Quality live stream. Who has the calmest accent? I vote Rift. Well, you've got 2 angry Scotsmen, 3 Englishmen, and the Welshman. The Welsh. I lived in Wales for a long time. It's much more chilled, so I'll agree with you on that one. But thank you for the super chat. It's really appreciated.
Why do we always come across as angry? You know, it's like the Germans.
It's the accent, nothing else.
It doesn't matter what a German says or a Scotsman says. It sounds horrendously angry.
I'm engaged to a Scottish girl from Central Scotland, so yeah, I feel the wrath. That's why I know.
I've served with a lot of Scots, and yeah, they are angry most of the time. I like Brian's, just like.
I blame the deep fried food and the whiskey. That's what I blame.
I'm just going to throw it out there. Go fuck yourselves. That's not true.
They're only angry because no one can understand a word they say.
Yeah.
I understand everything Scottish people say.
See,
that's a lie. That's a lie, because my missus is from Central Scotland, and then we'll go to a different part and she'll be like, "I've no idea what the fuck you just said."
That's true. I did go to Orkney one time.
Yeah, there's somewhere near where she lived, and instead of light they say licht. It's just the mind boggles.
The further north you go, especially around about Aberdeen, the accent gets stronger and the speech gets faster. So because I've worked in England an awful lot, I always try and speak a bit slower for you unfortunate south of the border.
Right.
I'm even quick on the uptake, and I dumb it down for you a bit.
Yeah. All your super chats tonight will go towards rebuilding Hadrian's Wall. Just throwing that out there.
In all honesty, on this little island of ours, we all do a wonderful job of massacring the English language.
This is very true. This is very true. Accents play a big part of stereotypes. I think it's a good point with this Scottish thing. It's
I
like,
tell
you know,
I mean, a couple of months ago, I was talking to a young lady. She's German. She's worked in York, one of the Channel Islands, and all the rest of it. And she said, I asked her, how are you getting on in Britain and this and that? And she said, well, I studied English in school, and I thought working in Britain would help my English language. And I looked at her and went, have you heard any yet? And she said, no, I haven't. And I said, who told you the lie that coming to Britain would improve your comprehension of the English language? She said, I read it in a book. Was it a German one?
I know if you drive from the northeast and you know you can go to the Midlands then across to Liverpool and you can completely not understand anything on the journey.
Well, it's the lie that there's a British accent.
Yeah. No, the British accent is what Emily of Friends, like the posh. That's what they expect us to all sound like.
The British accent is something from Mary Poppins. I've never heard anybody speak like that before.
that's why we have this
London
one
for 6 months, and I never heard anybody speak the Queen's English in London either. I mean, I just they look at me like I'm the foreigner, and I'm thinking, I speak better England than you do, but.
So yeah, this is the American stereotypical British accent.
Brian, you do realise we can see you.
That's what they all expect us to sound like. That's our very own Miss Worm. Thank you, Metalhead Doc, for the $4.99 super chat. Really appreciated. Excellent live, guys. Your accents are a treat on my American ears. After he's copied and pasted everything we've said through Google Translate, that is. Where's that now? Brian, Pete said extractor fan to suck the heat outside.
Yeah, I've got one to stick up, 140 mil fan to stick up there.
Anyone change their preps due to the power outage? I know you answered this in the chat, Hawkins. You said obviously you're getting solar installed, stuff like that. World Survivalist, we'll come to you first this time for a change. Did the Spain and Portugal situation make you think about your preps any differently?
Yeah, it did actually. It made me think a little bit more about household power banks and the like. I think it's what I probably should throw out there. I don't actually consider myself to be a prepper. So, as a non-prepper in this chat, I don't really have one of every item that you could possibly have in order to, see out every possible scenario. But the thing,
have you got a log burner though?
I wish I had a log burner, but I do have plans to have one. But that's more to do with the cost of energy than just,
We're not real preppers either because we've not got a log burner.
Oh well, there you go. That's it. You need to have the log burner before you're a real prepper.
And Mike's got an electric car, so he's out and all.
I've ruined it for everyone. I've got an EV. That's it.
I think the situation with Spain, not just Spain as well. I mean, you've seen the power outage at Heathrow with the transformer suddenly just exploding for no apparent reason whatsoever. And there are other cases of that happening across Europe that I've noticed, which it could just be a remarkable coincidence, but it could also be part of a bigger thing that's going on in the world. And I think probably energy's definitely an area where we should all pay a little bit more attention. So for me, having power banks that can power my house at least for a few hours, even if it's just to run a fridge, run broadband, etc., would be something very useful. Because at the moment, all I've got is your mobile phone type ones. I don't have anything that could power the. If the grid went down right now, I would also be down. That's exactly the kind of thing I'm looking at the moment. That's the kind of thing that I'm.
Brian's holding that up, but if you look at the bottom shelf, there's about enough to start power the village.
Yeah, well, actually, Brian, I watched a couple of your videos, and I'm pretty much going to copy and paste what you're doing because, that's the avenue I think I have to go down, and this is the benefit of looking into what other preppers are doing because they've did all the thinking for me.
Yeah, there you go. High praise indeed, that Brian. High praise indeed. It's
the power banks are an expect. What I would say is, they're a flexible solution, but kilowatt for kilowatt, a home battery and home solar system is better value than power banks. I'll just throw that out there now. What power banks give you is flexibility for bug out, camping. You'll get more uses out of them, but value for money, a domestic system will always perform better and be cheaper.
Big hit to take though for a lot of people, right?
It is that. Well, that's the other thing. I mean, you'll get an EcoFlow Delta 2, like you were putting in the Discord, for about $499. That's an all-in-one solution that you can use straight away. No MCS accreditation, no cowboy solar installers, nobody destroying your roof, no DNO notification. So it's a plug-and-play solution for 500 quid, as opposed to 10 grand.
Yeah.
It's affordable.
Yeah. I think as well, it also puts you into the mindset as to that's the route that you're taking. You know, if I won the lottery tomorrow, I would have Tesla power walls and solar panels all over my house and all the rest of it. But, you know, I'm not likely to win the lottery because I don't play the lottery. So at the moment, it's just going to be, let's start with the power banks and work my way up.
Yeah, no, it's a good prep to have for a lot of people. I prep based on for like SHTF and Teotihuacan. I prep based on like older technology, stuff that doesn't use power. But I think the more and more I've been involved with the fireside and stuff like that, I've started to go down that route as well, just to, at least if it's a week-long situation, to just provide a little comfort, you know, in that week sort of period. Prepared the path. Did you the events that happened in Spain and Portugal, did that change how you thought about prepping at all?
It did. I've always been prepped for grid down, so no electricity. Personally, so I'm quite well versed on the grid's gone down. That's it. We've got no electricity. But as everybody can agree, we all got families, stuff like that, and you need to make it sort of adaptable for them.
Yeah.
So now I'm trying to get into solar as fast as humanly possible. I've got a couple of solar panels on the way, which was recommended by Brian. I think the 400 watt.
Oh, was this the City Plumbing ones? The 430?
Yeah, it was. So I've got I think 5 of them coming at the moment. There's a few different avenues I'm looking at. I've got a few like power banks. I'm just trying to get everything as fast as possible because I believe personally that's the way things are going. It's going to be a cyber maybe attack on the grid, and it's going to go.
Yeah, I think that's the issue. I think that's why a lot of people are getting into it, because it's not just a case of this one thing could happen. We've got an aging grid that could just fail. We've got cyber attack potential. We've got CMEs and solar flares that could affect the grid at a national level, and obviously the threat of World War III and EMPs. So there's like 4 avenues. It's not just preparing for one thing. There's lots of routes into that. Rift, are you did Spain or Portugal make you change how you prep at all?
It made me sit down and sort of reevaluate a few things. The speed at which things went down over there. When people mention about water in the taps and things, you know, running out of water and whatnot. And I sat down and I thought, well, okay, some places will have generators, you know, like hospitals and whatnot. And I thought, well, depending on how long this goes on for, if they can't get fuel out of wherever because there's no electricity to power pumping stations or pumps or whatever, I thought to myself, that's going to be a horrible thing to be in a hospital and triage who gets treatment, battery backup or whatever for varying conditions and wards. That's not a position. That's not something I want to be in charge of, making them decisions.
No.
And at the same time, I thought to myself, if you take electricity away from our way of life, we're going back about 200 years then, aren't we? Well,
Yeah.
you may lob this country back into the Stone Age.
With no skills.
Yeah, I mean, our entire behavior and attitude towards things in the UK, it really, when you boil it down, depends on electricity. Because it's just the way our country and the world has developed in the last, say, 200 years, for example. But I did sit down and think to myself, well, if I'm away from home, working away and all the rest of it, do I now really have a solid cutoff point of, right, it's time for me to get in my vehicle and leave? If we're going on the basis of a cyber attack, not an EMP, we'll say the vehicles are still working. Have I got a solid cutoff point, or would I say to myself, I'm going to leave at some point between now and day 2? That got me picking my brains apart. Because
is that to get home?
Yes, not duration, how long to get from work at home, but let's say I'm on a job and I'm 150 miles from the house. Walking's going to take me freaking weeks, right? So if the vehicle's working, I'm going to say to myself, do I leave immediately? Like, oh, power's gone out in Britain, right? Start the vehicle, bugger a contract, it's time to get home. Or would I say to myself, I'm going to give it a maximum of 48 hours, and within a 48-hour window, I'm off. Sorry about
if the whole country goes down and I'm not at home, I will be walking straight towards my vehicle, getting in the vehicle and heading home, and I'll take every back road, whatever it took to get there. Yeah. I treat half a tank as empty, and I always make sure when I get to my destination I fill up, so I've got a full tank anyway. But yeah, if it was a nationwide outage, I'd say to my boss straight away, I'd be like, see you later, I'm off.
I get what Riff's saying though. It's like, do you want to? You set off on that journey and then everything comes back on and everything's fine and dandy. So that there's that. Do you wait and just see how it pans out? The risk there, I would say, Rift, is in 48 hours is everyone then trying to get home.
I think we behave very differently within 48 hours. If word got out that it was a genuine cyber attack. Brian's got to end up. He's being a good boy. Let's let him talk.
Here's a slight caveat to consider. How would you know? Because here's something that people haven't learned the lesson from Spain.
Yeah.
What they knew was what they didn't know. Their phones went down, the masts weren't communicating properly, they had limited communication. Most people didn't know for hours and hours and hours, other than the local area, what was happening. They had no fucking clue. They had no idea that the whole country was bollocks. So, in a total country grid down situation, what's going to be the biggest problem is you won't know. You won't know.
Best bet there is to have a little AM medium wave, shortwave radio with you, which I do carry one in my bag all the time. Like,
but then again, saying that, for instance, you don't know. How long till you think to yourself, well, I don't know what's going on, till you actually start walking?
One day max.
Yeah, I think it's really down to each individual person to make their own decision and say, this is a definite, I'm off. Like Hawkins just said, this all looks fishy, see you later. Or do you give yourself a certain amount of time? I think it really comes down to, let's say, the distance you're from home, what you've got going on at home. If you've got elderly or infirm relatives or people in your house, you've got to sit down and work out what your motivation is and say, right, that's stuff it, and I'll deal with the consequences if things all come back to life and everything's tickety-boo. Turn up for work and go, look, I'm sorry, boss. There was no reliable information. I've got this going on at home. I made a decision. Here it is, and take what's coming afterwards.
Better to ask forgiveness than permission.
You can ring the wife and say, I'll be back in a couple of days, love. Well, you better hurry up because they're coming over the back fence like Splat and Doolin.
What I would say is, I mean, Hawkins is spot on with speaking about the radio, and Brian showed one there. But it would be information is going to be key for anything. You're going to have to do your own little assessment. You know, if everything's gone and your phone won't power on and stuff like that, we can say EMP sort of thing. So you can kind of assess it immediately what's going on. If it's a genuine concern, which it is for a lot of preppers for different reasons, is have something like that. Like they showed you the radios there. We've got the mesh-tastic system as well, which is a low power. A lot of the nodes are run by solar and stuff like that. So if it was a grid down, some of that might still be up. You might be able to get information via there.
I heard a few, just jump in there, Mike. I heard a few stories on some of the mesh-tastic things of people using it during the Spanish and Portuguese power outage and really loving it. It was a great method of communication that was being actively used. People talking about, where have you lost power? Right, we've lost power here. We've lost power here. You're talking 90 miles apart, and getting a bit of an idea of how wide the power outage was. It wasn't just a local area. So yeah, there was a few good stories coming out of it from a prepper's point of view.
Exactly. So, I mean, if it's a case of, you know, hopefully you've got a get home bag anyway and stuff like that, if you're working that far away, if you could put comms stuff in there, that's like something that doesn't rely directly on the grid, then the information is going to be vital, and you're probably going to react different to every kind of answer you get from that situation. Hawkins, we know, did you, I mean, you've got the solar coming. Did Spain actually influence that?
I think I just started the ball rolling, hadn't I? Going down that bandwagon. I've been
Spain, weren't it, Hawkins?
Chatting backward and forward with Brian, but as soon as was it the Spain? No, it was before. It was when I had the local power outage here. Do you remember? I went off where I live, and I was sat in the back garden. I logged onto my phone and signed the finance agreement. And went, "Yep, that's it, done." So, yeah. But to be fair, if I hadn't have done it by that time, I think Spain would have been enough to tip me over the edge anyway.
Yeah.
For me, it's if you're in a house that you're going to intend to stay in for a number of years, and you're a bit of a high energy user like I am, it's a no-brainer, because it's going to just pay itself off, and it's just going to generate money. There's no other thing you can do to your house that will give you an income apart from rent out a spare room or something, you know what I mean? But this will actually give me an income in a number of years, so it's a little bit of short-term pain, and it's a lot of long-term gain, really.
Definitely. If you don't plan on moving or anything like that, it's great. Brian, I want to get yours on this, because from a slightly different angle, because obviously you're prepared for the power going out and stuff like that, but it was the human reaction that made a difference to you, right? With Spain?
I was stunned how quickly people lost their mind. I couldn't believe it. I just could not believe how quickly. Not that they were riots in the street.
Speaking of which, Ration Nerd has lost his.
See that comment then, geez.
Well, always to be a crowd pleaser. No, I mean, what disturbed me the most was I had an idea in my head, and I've been a big advocate of 1 Second After as a book, as a must-read for preppers, and I still am. But what my big takeaway from the Spanish thing was how quickly the lack of information and Chinese whispers made people lose their minds.
Yeah.
What they didn't know in an unprecedented event, things fell apart. It just fell apart. And it fell apart like that, to the point that they had to put 30,000 troops as a contingency on the streets.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that was in day one. Can you imagine what that would have been like in day 3? No comms, no radios, can't buy anything, the water had stopped, and people don't know anything. When people don't know, people panic. So that was I couldn't believe how quickly it went to shit. Stunned.
Yeah. And yeah, and it's right. And it's I was shocked. We had somebody in the Discord whose parent was actually over there, and how quickly we went from power off to water off. We always think of, it's got some time, you can fill the baths and stuff like that. It happened in no time. If you're not home, you ain't filling any containers. By the time you get home, it could be off. So it was interesting, and we should always pay very close attention. I mean, there's obviously a human aspect, and my heart goes out to anyone who suffered through that, or, lost their lives or anything like that. But we should always pay close attention and learn from it. Well, I'm going to end. Sorry, go on.
Sorry, mate. On you go.
No, go on.
I was going to say, did you read Catherine Porter's article on it, on the follow-up to the Power Grid?
No.
I've been waiting on this for a week. So she did about 3 pages on it today. Came out this morning on the takeaways from it and what caused it. They still don't know what caused it, but there's a number of theories. One of them was that the fire near the 400 volt lines, the smoke from it and the particulate matter in the smoke had given the lines a path to Earth. Sounds crazy. It's a possibility. Then there was human error and loss of inertia.
Yeah,
so
we mentioned
one,
inertia on the fireside, right?
That one I like more because I don't think it was any one thing. I think it was a combination of a mixed grid, low inertia, human factors, and unexpected outages. I think it's been a horrible combination of them, but it pointed out, and she said the same thing, and this is what I do agree with. Their grid design, which we're trying to get to, right, was not conducive to coping with unexpected outages and problems. They couldn't respond quickly enough. They didn't have resiliency in the grid. They didn't have enough inertia to get through unexpected problems.
Mm-hmm.
And then went on to a bit about how there was a couple of problems in the UK the same day, early in the morning, and that was unplanned outages, different things. There was an interconnector dropped out. But what saved us was we did have inertia in the grid, but we are actively trying to switch away to what they've got. Although we're doing trials on different types of systems with, for want of a better term, buffers on it to give us more time to simulate inertia, would be the best way to phrase it.
Yeah.
But we have nothing in production. We've got nothing in place. They're doing trials. So that's the update.
We've got pipe dreams and Miliband. It's fine.
I tell you, just to jump in there as well, something that's really concerned me about the whole Spain-Portugal saga is the fact that they're saying that they apparently don't know what the cause is. You know, so they either do know what the cause is and they're not telling people, which is concerning in itself, or they genuinely don't know what the cause is, which is, you know, what the hell. You know,
I would think it's closer to the latter, where they do know what it is, but if they turn around to the entire of Europe and say, listen, net zero's not really going to work unless we put a lot more planning into it, then they're going to lose a lot of backing, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, this is basically then going back to the point of saying, well, what are our institutions for? Because if our institutions aren't going to be honest with us, then why should we ever trust them? And I think that
we don't.
yeah. I mean, that was my biggest takeaway from the pandemic was the absolute lies that came from the institutions, or the fact that the institutions either didn't know what was going on, which is just as bad, because it means that there's no adult really out there, you know, with their finger on the pulse of what's going on, and people really are on their own when things like this happen. And I don't think a lot of people realise that.
That's why we prep.
Generally, yeah, that's why we prep, and that's why I'm surprised a lot more people don't. It's a great point. I am going to try and wrap up now, gents. It's been a pleasure having you all on. I do want to take it back to, we get a lot of new preppers on this channel. So for your sign off, I would like to go around the table and your one top tip. Most of your preppers, one's a survivalist. Don't worry. Don't forget. Your top tip for new preppers or survivalists that might be in the chat or watching on the replay. And we'll go straight round the way I've got you on my screen. So Hawkins, you first.
Do what is known as a local area study and identify the hazards and potential issues that will affect you and prep from that. Like we're a bit different than America and whatnot, but there's no point in spending money on something that's not applicable to you. depending on your geographic location, and it's not just English viewers, is it? So, yeah,
Yeah.
do an area study, identify what your hazards, like a risk assessment basically, and then decide what mitigations you need to put in place and go from there.
Yeah. Rift, top tip for the new people?
I would say stay calm, do not panic, live within your means, and stick to your budget.
Good advice. Great advice. Prepared the path. One tip for new preppers or survivalists?
Me personally, stock rotation. Make sure you're stocking what you eat, and live by your means. Don't go spending. Don't go try and get loans out for it. Just live by your means. Progress weekly, monthly, wherever you get paid. Just you'll get there.
Cool. Ration Nerd, thank you very much for the 5 memberships that he's give out. So hopefully a couple of yous will get them. Ration Nerd is not a girl. Somebody asked before, but he does have an awesome channel. Go and check him out after this. Miss Worm will post the link if she's still awake. World Survivalist, top tip for new people.
Yeah, I think it's probably a little bit off the back of what Hawkins was saying, is look at yourself as an individual, what your own individual needs are, or your household at least. I really don't see the point of preparing for solar flares or asteroids if you can't really do much about that. If your biggest priority is diabetes medication, for example, if that's the most pressing thing in your household, that's what you need to prepare for. You'll go a long time without eating, and water's relatively abundant in the northern hemisphere. You're not going to go very far without your diabetes medication if that's something you need. So prepare for the things that you genuinely need, or somebody in your household genuinely needs, before looking into the bigger things. The solar flares, the asteroids, and the zombies and whatever. That can all come later.
Yeah. It's a great point. You might follow a YouTube channel who prepares a certain way because he lives in a certain area. Don't just carbon copy it. Assess your own situation. Great advice. Brian, top tip for the newbies?
It's never too late. Don't let a panic and apathy set in. You'll look at people and they might have pins hanging out the wazoo, power banks. They've spent a lot of money on shite, right? Not shite, but they've spent a lot of money on stuff. And you've not got a tint to your name. Start today. Start with one. Add a couple more. Before you know it, you'll have a box. Before you know it, you'll have a cupboard. So don't panic. Just don't ignore it. Start today.
Excellent. I'll add one. The last one is practice. Is test everything. Practice with everything. Don't buy a load of gear and let it gather dust. You don't want to learn how to use it, and you don't want to learn that it's no good when it is an emergency situation. So make sure you practice and test all your gear and all your kit. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me this evening. It's been an absolute pleasure with all of you. Everyone in the chat, thank you. The super chats, super appreciated. And yeah, we will see you in another video. Don't forget to go and check out these guys' channels. Miss Worm's been posting the ones that have got channels in the chat during this, so go back and look through that to find them, and we'll see you in some sort of other video soon, I'm sure. I'm stalling because I can't find the outro. There we go. Bye everyone.
Cheers, buddy. Bye now.
All right.